Hi, I'm Sam here at Rick Jones Pianos, and we're here with a really amazing piano. Definitely one of my favorite piano models whenever we can get it. This is a Kawai RX-2 grand piano made in Hamamatsu, Japan. This one in 1996. The successor to the long-running KG2 and the predecessor of the current day GX2. The RX2 is 5 foot 10 inches long, just about the same size as a Steinway Model L, or Model O as they make today also. Really quite a wonderful piano. I'm always very impressed with this model whenever we get it in. It's a tone and touch so refined. It's really a very wonderful piano. It's definitely a piano I could be very happy practicing on every day. It's one of those pianos for me. To describe the tone, it has Kawai's, at least what is in my opinion, Kawai's typically rounded and warm sound, combined with clarity, and that distinguishes them from their competitor Yamaha, also in the same city in Japan, also of the same very consistent level of quality control in the original manufacturer. Yamahas might tend to sound just a little bit more angular sounding, or maybe a little bit bolder and more brilliant sounding to really fill a really big room. This is going to be perfect for someone's home, I think, for an especially serious pianist who wants to practice a lot, I suppose, or with a lot of subtlety. It's really, the piano delivers. So it has that rounded, warm sound combined with clarity, and that I'm really happy with, and which I think really sets this apart from its predecessor, the KG2. It's an extraordinarily wide dynamic range. You can get extremely whisper soft on this piano, and also with a very large and full sound when you play more loudly. It's not the most brilliant sounding piano. That I think would be more the domain of a Yamaha C3, at least in my opinion. It's definitely, you can hear Kawai's mellow background, that sort of idea about how a piano should sound. This is definitely more on the mellow side, in my opinion, than the average Yamaha. But when you play a mellow piano like, slightly mellow piano like this, or at least a warm sounding piano like this, and if you play it loudly, it's like a massive sound just coming at your ears. It's a rather impressive experience. Very exciting to play, I think. But yeah, it can sound really mellow if you play it loud and softly. If you play it loudly, it brightens up a little bit. I'll rate the tone right in the middle at 5 on a scale from 1 to 10. It's maybe a little bit brighter than the average Kawai, which is known to be mellow, but and this one's brighter than that, but it's not a bright piano. And if you're inclined to play more softly in general, then you might consider this very well just to be a mellow sounding piano. But the important thing is it has a really wide dynamic range. A lot of pianos under 6 feet long don't have an especially wide dynamic range because they're relatively small pianos. Generally, you get a wider dynamic range on a concert grand piano, for example. You can play really loudly, or you can have a lot of subtlety at the soft playing. And this piano's not a concert grand, but it's an especially well-performing 5 foot 10 grand piano. So a lot you can do with this piano musically. And I didn't play so much with the bass, but it's a very deep sound too, so a lot this piano can offer. Now the touch is just a tiny bit firm. I'll rate it a 6 on a scale from 1 to 10, from light to firm. It's really not especially firm. I might rate it a 5.5 on the scale from 1 to 10 if we had that space on our scale, but we don't. We always round it up to a 6 because it's not perfectly a 5. 5 being completely neutral, not really hard to play, not really light to play. This one's just a tiny bit firmer, and in my opinion that's very typical of Kawai. Excellent thing is that you can play really quickly. The keys bounce back up very quickly. It's a very responsive action. So although you may feel like you're working a little bit harder playing this piano, it's not going to overwhelm you. Plus, it feels really good. So 5 and a 6 for tone and touch. What else can I say? We've polished it up very nicely. It came in with only some minor scratches, mostly on the lid, which my colleague has buffed out. The piano evidently wasn't used very much in its lifetime, and that is also perhaps evident in the bench here, which we've also buffed, but we wouldn't be able to get it to look this good if it were in rough care. The piano bench is in really good condition. Definitely a sign to us. And this is the original bench, by the way. Kawai's typically come with hard top benches. We can provide a padded top bench if you prefer, but this is the original Kawai bench. When the bench arrives in such good condition as this one did, it tells us that the piano was not used very much, because usually the benches are worn more than the piano itself, because people are sitting on them and not on the piano, we hope. So, yeah, we're very much confident this piano will last at least for the 10 years of the warranty that we offer on this piano, just like we do on any other piano, 10 years, all parts and labor, and with proper maintenance, so you have it tuned twice a year by a professional technician, and you keep the piano away from extremes of humidity. As long as you do that, you're eligible for the 10-year upgrade. The piano will last a long time with proper maintenance, easily more than the 10 years, and it's still a young piano at only 24 years old. With proper maintenance, we are confident this piano will last many decades and will probably last a lifetime of musical enjoyment. But if you should choose to trade it in, which you have that option, for the price you pay for this piano or any other piano, if you should choose a different piano, whatever that number is, that will be the exact trade-in value as long as you have it regularly maintained, as I said, and away from extremes of humidity. Again, I don't know if there's very much in this room, at least, that you would want to trade up to, except possibly a larger Kawai or Yamaha in the future. And of a higher price, you would be looking possibly at some Steinway grands, but this is such a really nice piano. I can easily imagine it being someone's last piano. It's just an excellent piano. I really enjoyed playing it. So I do hope that you can come out and see it for yourself if you're willing to at this time. But if you can't or can't for any reason, you can always give us a phone call or send us an email if you have any questions. But we do hope to see you.